They are here, they support us, they will come to the ground to fight. That I can assure you. When we sign a contract to acquire equipment, we paid for drones with Turkey under an assistance contract. They have trained our teams, our crews. The Chinese, they are here. The equipment we buy from China, they are also here.
The Russian armed forces is ready to move into Burkina Faso to help them fight. This is by Ibrahim Traore. My name is Sylvia. This is also and so welcome.
Ваш нынешний визит в Россию на празднование 80-летия Победы весьма символичен и отражает дружественный характер российско-буркинийских отношений. Хотел бы вспомнить также и о вкладе вашей страны в разгром германского нацизма и его сателлитов. Около 30 тысяч жителей нынешней Буркина-Фасо воевали в составе войск антигитлеровской коалиции в формированиях сражающаяся Франция под руководством легендарного сына французского народа генерала Шарля де Голля.
Okay, you're welcome. Now, we know that when Ibrahim Traore took office in Burkina Faso, he sacked the French armed forces out of the country. According to him, these French armed forces in their country was not actually helping. They were not ready to help them fight the terrorists fighting in their country. They were just there for their personal benefit. There were times that Burkina Faso go into fight, going to their neighboring country to borrow arms for their soldiers. And after fighting, they have to clean the guns and return it to their neighboring countries again.
And to gather the logistics, I'll share a secret with you. There were times during certain operations here when we borrowed weapons from neighboring countries, carried out the operation, cleaned up, and then returned them.
Yes.
But today, all of this gives us a very bad image. Today, as soon as there's an attack, the Rapid Intervention Battalion is told, you move, because they are fully equipped, ready for combat. We don't have a moment to lose. And immediately they take off and rush into combat. That's how it happens now. There are several battalions that are equipped and positioned all over the country. This is also the increase in power in terms of logistics and tactics.
So this was the predicament of the Burkinabe people over the years. And they thought that, okay, French, you are in this country to help us, but you are not actually helping. You are just here. The people are killing us. The terrorists are fighting us, killing us every day. There were times that soldiers are on guard with stick in their hand. This is by Ibrahim Traore.
The army was neglected, don't forget that. Since the 1990s, with the so-called structural adjustment program, everything has been distorted. There were soldiers standing guard with sticks. We disarmed the army, our armies. It was well prepared. No more equipment, no more training, nothing. People were just wearing the uniform, and terrorism joined the dance a few years later. And it's broadcasted on all the media. They are unable to fight. We will come to help them. And terrorism is only gaining ground.
And so when they come to power, they sack the French military, and then they are now in alignment with the Russian people. And according to him, Russia is now ready to supply them any ammunition that they want. According to Ibrahim Traore, during the time that they were in, talk with the French people, France put an embargo on certain ammunition for them to buy. They said that you cannot buy this, you cannot buy this, you cannot buy it. But with Russia, you can buy anything that you want, any ammunition that they want, and they go to Russian market, they give it to them. And as a matter of fact, during their agreement with Russia, Turkey, and then South Korea, after buying the ammunition, they bring in their experts to come to Burkina Faso and train their forces as to how to use this ammunition. This is true partnership between the Russian people and then the Burkinabe government.
Today with Russia, the relationship is primarily strategic. That I think you understand much better than we do. And with Russia, there isn't this equipment that we wish to pay for with them, that they don't sell. The others impose restrictions on us.
They tell you you cannot buy this type of weapon.
Of course.
Yet the Russians sell you everything you want.
Everything we want. Up to the moment I'm speaking to you, we are being blocked from licenses for certain aircraft. There are types of weapons they will never sell us.
And how do they explain these restrictions to you?
You know, I asked the question, where is the friendship? What do they want? There are many countries, the Russians, the Chinese, the Turks, the Koreans, and so on. There are no restrictions. With Iran, everything we want, they will accommodate us. If we can pay, we pay. But with these states that were supposedly our friends, there are restrictions. There are even some who have told us that they can't sell us anything lethal.
Oh, really? So you're at war and you can't kill the one in front of you?
Yes, the terrorist kills us. But we might have the duty to pick up stones. Maybe even the stone is lethal. Anything lethal, they won't sell to us. That's their principle. When we sign a contract to acquire equipment, we sign the contract with the training included. There are plenty of Turks here. Why don't they talk about it?
Who are specialized in drones, rather?
We paid for drones with Turkey under an assistance contract. More than a year ago. The whole time we've been here, the Turks have been here. Why don't we talk about it? Why don't we talk about it? They are here, they support us. They have trained our teams, our crews, in Turkey. They come here, they assist them, and they continue to train them in piloting, maintenance, and everything. We have the contract for a given period. When our men are well trained, they will leave. It's the Chinese, they are here. The equipment we buy from China, they are also here to train in the handling of that equipment.
Ibrahim Traore, according to him, anytime that the fight gets aggressive, anytime that the things get worse, and then they need other people to come in and help, Russia said that they are ever ready to move in and help them fight either the imperialists or the terrorists on their territory. Watch this.
There are no Russians on the ground to fight. These are things developed actually in people's minds. But if needed, they will come to the ground to fight. That I can assure you. If there is a need.
You don't forbid yourself that?
No. If there is a need.
Except now they aren't on ground.
No. For now, we are fighting alone. They support us in terms of training, on logistics, tactical training and everything. They support us in this area.
Okay. So according to him, Turkey is already on the ground training people. South Korea is already on the ground. Turkey is supplying drones to Burkina Faso. And so their experts are in Burkina Faso training the Burkinabe armed forces to use those drones. And then South Korea as well as China. So the Chinese government will send in their experts to go and train the people how to fight. If you are helping somebody, you are helping them to fight terrorism on their territory. Why don't you supply ammunition that they will need to fight the people? If you are truly helping somebody, why are you preventing them from getting ammunition themselves to fight the people? Guys, this episode is sponsored by Beardman GH. They, distribute Kirkland Minoxidil 50%, 5%, and then Demarula in Ghana here. So if you are in Ghana and you want to grow your beard or your hair is receding and you want to regrow it, you need Kirkland Minoxidil, and Beardman GH are the suppliers here in Ghana. So this was the relationship between Burkina Faso or the Sahel nations and France before. But after they kick them out and bring in a new agreement with Russia, they are now getting the help that they need. They are now getting what they want to fight these terrorists.
All over the world, people have fought for their homeland. And why?
Mr. President, when we say that, one tends to ask the question, this terrorism has been ongoing for a while in our territories, with armies that have come and extraordinary sums spent, with high-quality military arsenal so far. How do you explain that suddenly? You decide that the three of you will fight this without the others. Is it realistic? What makes it more feasible today than with those armies that were there?
It's more than realistic. There have been several situations. We have had the opportunity to be on the ground. Many other officers you might encounter have had the chance to be on the ground and have maneuvered with these foreign armies. On your own territory, you are given restrictions. They do whatever they want. What's even more surprising, Imagine you said with all the technology they had, they might currently have satellites observing everything. They had drones, helicopters, all types of devices. But we never saw the terrorists. Today we have decided to wage war. But do you realize? We find them every day, and we whip them. So there is a problem.
For you, there wasn't a real willingness to fight them then?
No willingness to fight them?
Okay.
If they wanted to, they could do it. The terrorists would never have reached this level.
So today we say, if they are achieving results, if they are making some progress, it's because they have the Russians with them. There was Wagner, which we talked about. Today we even have the Russians who are going to open their first military base with Africa Corps. Mr. President, are the Russians helping you? And is their help better than that of the foreign armies that were present until now?
You know, as far as Burkina is concerned, for example, we have always been in contact with Russia. And I tell you, the equipment that the Burkinabe had, 80% of it was Russian equipment.
Oh, really?
Of course.
But yet you had a stronger military relationship with the French. How do you explain that?
Yes, because this equipment dates back to perhaps the years of the revolution. Of course, we have equipment dating back to the years of the revolution, which are still in use, Russian and Korean, North Korean equipment, which are still fighting in our army.
And we know that there are reports that these terrorists are actually now running away from their zones. This is an improvement. This is a true partnership. And this is what the people want. We are happy for people in Burkina Faso. And we want this agreement to go on. So far as it's helping the people, so far as the motherland is happy, the motherland is being liberated, the emancipation is going on in the African country, we will always forever support it. Let's support Burkina Faso and Ibrahim Traore. Let's support the people in the Sahel nation and then the agreement between them and Russia, Turkey, South Korea, and China. As far as it's working to support the people in the motherland, we will continue to be there for them. My name is Xavier. This is also so for now. We are out.